everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Bodacity Show. Yes, I'm starting a touch early today because I'm excited, and I'm also in another event that starts at the same time. So I want to get rocking and rolling with part 2 of how to get great testimonials. So today I'm going to talk about 3 things. 1, why you need them, how you use them more effectively, and how to repurpose them, because not all the testimonials that we get are created equal. The second thing that I want to go over with you is some real practical scripts on how to do this and how to make it easier for you to get those testimonials. And then the third thing is I want to talk to you about how to get over yourself. Because frankly, most of the time when we are blocked in our marketing and sales efforts, it's because we got stuff going on up here that's keeping us from being our bold, badass selves in the marketplace, which means that we cannot support as many clients because we're not being effective. So I want to help you get over yourself. Now, you may be wondering about this weird little juxtaposition of having the beautiful sunny thing behind me and I'm wearing winter plaid and flannels and so forth. Well, that's because I'm in Canada and it's cold out. And so I'm cold, but I don't want to be. So I got this background going to remind me that very soon I will be somewhere warm and lovely. And I can still be warm and toasty, even in my mind and in reality. So that's why that background is there. The reason that I wanted to do these 2 testimonial trainings for you is because we're coming up to the end of the year. I want you to go gather a bunch of testimonials between now and the end of the year so that you can be better at getting your marketing going for next year. I want you to be really brave and bold about putting yourself out there next year and getting more responses from people because you're positioning yourself well. So, hi, Jennifer. Yes, I am going on the Marketer's Cruise. I think so. Anyways, I'm still finalizing all my plans about where I'm going. So glad to see you here. And yes, I'm happy to help you get over yourself. So what I really want to start with is some practical how-tos. I posted some of these sheets in the Bodacity Action Heroes group, so you can go and get the forms and download them for yourself. These were part of a challenge that I did a couple of years ago and that I often use with my clients. So I'm going to share my screen a lot today so that you can see what I'm talking about and looking at. This is the testimonial template. This is a format that you can use for asking for testimonials. You want to make it as simple as possible for people. So if we can give them a template to fill in, that's going to make it faster and easier for them. There's 2 ways you can do that. You can give them a little template like this, an example of a format and a structure, or you can ask them a series of questions that will help you to gather information or prompt them. And you can give them a guide to that. So let me just go through this with you really quickly. So I was struggling with describe the problem or challenge and hired. You would put your company's name in there or your name if you're an individually branded to help me with and the solution you were looking for. What I valued most about our work together was something you appreciated about their approach or their process. The results I achieved included tangible, specific outcomes or benefits you created, which I appreciated because why those outcomes matter to you. So I want to break this down, then name, title, or position and city. What I want to break down for you is a really great testimonial has the following. What the pain or problem or challenge was that they started out with, okay, at a minimum. Ideally, what they were trying to accomplish or the solution they were looking for. Often the results they get are not necessarily what they were looking for. Then you also want something specific about what they accomplished. So you don't want just, Jeanette was great or whatever. You want some specific outcomes and tangible takeaways. And ideally, why that mattered to them. It's the why that really helps differentiate and makes it significant. I got more clients is great, but I got more clients and that allowed me to stay open is far more significant. Or I got more clients and now I really feel like I'm on track with my purpose is different. Or I got more clients and so now I can afford to take that luxury vacation that my family's been longing for. Whatever it is, it's going to tie into what was meaningful for them. And that's really where the appeal of the testimonial is. So that's one way to ask, is to give them this template and have them fill it out. You can also, if they have told you verbally, you can fill it in, send it to them, and have them just approve it or edit it as necessary. You can also provide them with questions to help them write their testimonial. So the same format, just in a little different layout. What was the problem you needed to solve? Why did you choose to work with us? How do we solve your problem? How was our solution unique? What did you particularly like about our approach for delivery? How would you summarize your experience as a whole? What would you tell others about us? Each of these will get you a different kind of information that's valuable for you as a business owner to understand what people appreciate and what they're noticing. But it's also then you can pull out different approaches. It's basically asking the same thing. Where is the value for you? So you can ask them in that format. If you want to make it simpler, again, keep it to the format above. What was the problem? What was the solution? What were the tangible takeaways or benefits, and why did those matter? That's another way to approach that. What would you tell others about us? If you have one question to ask, what would you tell others about your experience of working with us is probably the one core question that you want. Because when you say, what would you tell others, then they're going to put it in the form of a testimonial. When you say about your experience, it's more likely going to be both the internal, the feelings and how it was about your experience of working with us, and the outcomes you achieved or the tangible takeaways will get you the practical specific benefits. So if you're going to ask that one question, try and include all three elements into it. And you can also do it in a paragraph format, same as the little thing above, another format that you can use. Let your customer know that they're going to be provided with final approval before publishing, because you can edit a client's testimonial to make it more workable for you. I'm going to show you an example of that, but then you just send it back to them and say, here's what you sent, and here's what I wrote to make it fit better. Is this okay with you? I have never had anyone say no, but if they do want to edit it, they can, and then you can go ahead and use it. So let me give you an example of that specifically. I took a client testimonial that I just received recently, and like a few days ago, and it was long. It was about the Purpose and Profit Breakthrough event. So what I would do now is I have a sheet every year for new testimonials. This has been added to that sheet, but what I'm going to do is take the two variations and add them as well. I have that sheet divided up into, for me, coaching, events, speaking, and other testimonials, because I do all three pieces of work in my business. So here was her original testimonial. What was most valuable about this event for me was I learned the importance of the why, and I learned that my why comes from the intersection of healing and longing, and that it originated from my past experiences. This was very deep and insightful for me. I was incredibly moved by the depth of work we did over the 3 days. Some of the information was academic, but much of it was at a soul-searching level. It was a bit of an epiphany. It was a bit of an epiphany that who I am as a person shaped my business and my service offerings. Up to now, I really didn't see the parallel. This was very powerful and has given me many ideas to move ahead with tangible action steps in a meaningful way. I also learned to be the bold, brave, badass that I am deep down every day in everything I do. Laura Ballerini, Executive Creative Director, Blue Baron Communications, Inc., Calgary, Alberta. Okay, so that's a lot. It's quite long. It's not really usable in most testimonial circumstances because it's so long. You want testimonials to be quick to read and easy. Here's a longer version that I would use on my event page when I'm doing the event marketing. because it's so specific to the event. But I did cut it down. I edited some things out, like her process of, or like how I taught a piece of the content, because they'll get that when they come to the event. I was incredibly moved by the depth of work we did in this event. Some of the information was practical. I changed the word from academic to practical. I took a little editorial license here. Because I'm actually not very academic, but again, this is something that I would just check with her when I go back to her. But much of it was at a soul searching level. It was an epiphany that who I am as a person shaped my business and my service offerings. Up until now, I really didn't see the parallel. I didn't go into, so I just moved some lines around and edited. What was most valuable was learning the importance of my why. So that's a cut down of this whole section. So this whole section became what was most valuable was learning the importance of my why. It says essentially the same thing, but in a shorter way. This was very powerful and has given me many ideas to move forward and move ahead with tangible action steps. So I tied that into the last line, the tangible action steps, because so that it flowed more easily, meaningful way. So I can, and then I joined these two thoughts by putting a bridging line in there so I can more easily be the bold, brave badass that I am deep down every day. Okay, now the so I can more easily do this, again, is taking a little bit of liberty, but the whole idea is this will help her do this. So I now have this down to 2 smaller paragraphs, and I cut down the thing by taking off her city. I recommend that in your testimonials, you have a name and a title, perhaps a company or a city, but you want something that indicates that it's a real person and something about them. I like having titles and or companies because there's such a variety of people that I work with that the various titles are very important. Now, I also work with people all around the world, so sometimes having cities can add to your credibility. So part of what you want to put there depends on what kind of credibility you want to establish. Is it that you work with a variety of different people at different levels, in which case then titles might be important. However, if you work with one type of market, like they're all executive assistants or they're all dentists, then having the title is not important. Having the company maybe, and or the location. So you decide, but you want something more than just the name, ideally, to add credibility. Then I cut it down to one short paragraph here. This I would use in things like slides and presentations. I would use it, again, when talking about the event, but I might put it, instead of on the event page, I might put it in social media because it's shorter and easier to read. I was incredibly moved by the depth of the work we did in this event. What was most valuable was learning the importance of my why. So again, I took this line, cut it down, and put it higher up in this case. This and other deep insights was very powerful and has given me many ideas to move ahead with tangible action steps in a meaningful way. Now, this is very important to me, tangible action steps. I want people to be taking action, and I ideally want testimonials where they say something specific about what they're going to do. But I also want transformational language. I do both education and transformation. So now I can be something different is also a valuable testimonial for me. Now I'm going to do something different and I'm going to be different. Those are the ideal ones for me because I do both education and transformational work. Then I cut it down to just her name and her company name. So you do want to give them profile because part of the benefit of giving testimonials is it gives you profile. So I would never just put her name if I had other information, and I might leave the creative director up there, but depending on, again, where I'm using it and how quick it needs to be. So most of the time, this is the title that I would use because she gave it to me. Okay, I just wanted to give you an example of how you can take some creative license. And again, you want to go back to them and make sure that that version is close enough to what they said, that it actually captures the spirit of it. But you can see how you can distill it down to the most important pieces that are valuable for you in what you're doing and what you're profiling. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, please put a question or a comment into the chat below. So we talked about how to give them testimonial templates, which is very important. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit, very practically, about how to ask them for those testimonial templates. And then I'm going to show you how to use them. So one of the things that I recommend is you can send out email requests. And I've got a template again that I will put again. It's actually in the chat, in the, not the chat, the forms in the Facebook group. But I'm going to give you some ideas here of the components. So again, you can draft your own if these don't work for you, or push off of them. The idea is you want to have a really catchy subject matter on all emails, of course. Would you be willing, ... has some intrigue, has some, and when you ask an open-end question, it's almost impossible for people not to open it and go, would I be willing what? So it has them lean in. Personalize all of your communications with people, especially when you're asking for favors. So this would be a direct email to them, not sent out from a list. If you do send out from a list, make sure the personalization is accurate. But I highly recommend that you actually make this personal. And so this one is for clients so a recent or current client, email number 1. It's been a pleasure working with you. I won't read the whole thing, so you can go and look at the form, but it's been a pleasure working with you, and I really value your quality or trait. So you want to edify them in a sincere, authentic way that lets them know that you are talking to them, okay? Because it contributed to the results that we're creating together. Now, these are more geared towards coaches and healing practitioners and people who are providing professional services. Again, adjust this as is necessary. So if you are, for instance, like many of my clients, an HR consultant who works in corporations, it might be modified to something like, it's been a pleasure working with you. I really value your team's commitment to creating a culture of inclusion and diversity, because it's really contributed to the retention that we're starting to create together. So you want to make it very specific to what's going on there. As you know, people prefer to hire from those that have been recommended. That's why I would really appreciate a testimonial from you to use in my marketing. Would you be willing to write a paragraph about what the problem was that you wanted solved, what the specific benefits were that you achieved as a result of our work together, and what you would tell someone else about me? So again, that's that format that we used. You can either put this in here, or you can do like it says here, insert the template, okay? Or delete this line and attach your template as a document, whichever you want to use. So you can insert the template, one of the different ones that I showed you. I put 3 or 4 in there. You can insert it here or attach the whole document. I generally encourage you to only give them one option, because otherwise they'll be confused. Are they supposed to fill in all 4? You know, which one should I pick? You want to make it as fast and simple for people as possible. So as I said here, because I know how busy you are, I've included a template to make it easier, but of course you're welcome to use whatever approach you prefer. If I make any edits to the quote, I'll send it to you for approval prior to publishing. I typically include the person's name, title, or position, and city or location at the end so that it's more credible and relatable. Please let me know if you have any concerns about that. And please know that if you prefer not to provide a testimonial, that's perfectly okay too. This sentence is critical. It's critical more for you than it is for them. Thank you again for your business and your support and your name. The reason you want to make sure that you put this line in here is when you give people permission to say no, you give them permission to say yes. So it absolutely takes off the pressure. And more significantly, it helps you get over yourself, because one of the reasons that people don't ask for testimonials is they don't want to intrude, they don't want to be a bother, they don't want to put people in an awkward position. All you have to do is say this, and you no longer putting them in any kind of sense of obligation. If they choose to do it, it's because they're choosing to do it. So you can let go of doing their work for them. You can stop deciding for other people and simply ask. This is a brilliant line to use in so many situations. When you ask for a favor, when you ask for a sale, when you want a prospect to do something, When you want your kids to do something, when you give people permission to say no, you give them permission to say yes, and you take you out of the equation of deciding for them. You put the power back where it belongs, with them. So I highly recommend that you use this. It really does lift the weight off your shoulders and off them. Okay. So just include that in any request that you put, and then it takes some of the angst out of asking for support. Okay. If it's a previous client, then you modify it, and it could be a voice from your past as your subject line, whatever you think might attract and appeal to your people. It's been a while since I had the pleasure of working with you. Hope you're doing well and are still benefiting from, and you get specific about the results that you help them create, whatever that may be. So if you're a nutritionist and they lost weight and they feel better about their body, you know, the incredible transformation we did when working with your nutrition and wellness, whatever it may be. As part of my growing my business, I'm overhauling my marketing, and wondered if you would be willing to do me a big favor. So it's pretty much the same from that point forward. And please know that if you prefer not to provide a testimony, that's perfectly okay too. Thank you again for your business in the past, and please call me if I can return the favor in any way. All right. So it's just putting some context to it. It's letting them know that you're doing an overhaul of your marketing. That's why you're updating your testimonials and why you're asking people from the past. So that's recent clients from the past. And then I highly recommend that you send a follow-up, at least one, if not 2 or 3, because frankly, people don't read all your emails, or they open it and they're like me, they have 97 emails opened on the bottom of their page. I wish I could show you, but it won't let me show you that. I literally have about 25 emails open. All of them are people I want to get back to, and then don't, because I have 25 emails open. So it's not an effective process. Don't do it. But there's many people like me who, yes, I'm willing to do that. I'll just minimize it for now, and I'll get to it right away, and then we forget. So don't be afraid to send follow-ups, and you can just have some fun with it. I hope you don't think I'm nagging, but I know how inundated I am with emails, and that sometimes I mean to reply to one, but it gets lost in the shuffle. So just be authentic. In case that's what happened, I wanted to remind you about my request for a testimonial. Here's a template. If I haven't heard from you because you prefer not to provide one, that's okay. As it says in the subject line, I know you still love me, and it's mutual whether you provide a testimony or not. But you will be my very favorite client if you do. Okay, so make it personal. And the subject line, by the way, says, I know you still love me. So make it personal and make it fit with your personality. This is something that I would say it might be too tongue-in-cheek for you. It might be not tongue-in-cheek enough. So I want you to put that in your tone, but don't be afraid to put personality in this. That's part of why they work with you. Thanks in advance for any help you're willing to provide, and please let me know if I can return the favor. All right, now, speaking of returning the favor, I want to talk again a little bit about getting over yourself, and I want to ask you a couple of provocative questions before we wrap up. One is, many times people don't ask for testimonials or favors in general, or sales for that matter, et cetera, because they have a bunch of different things running through their head. Things like, I don't want to impose, I don't want to be a bother, I don't want to inconvenience them, I don't want them to feel bad, I don't want all of those. Now, if that's you, just raise your hand whether I can see you or not. I want you to notice what's the common phrase in every single one of those lines. It's the word I. So what's really running the show is ego. I call it the ego of low self-esteem. I don't want to feel uncomfortable because they might be uncomfortable. I don't want to be rejected because they might say no. I don't want to. There's a whole bunch of I. Okay, so let's get over that and get into service. Now, how does asking them for a favor put us in service? Well, I want you to think back to the last time someone asked you to help them. How did that feel? Was it fun? Was it easy? Was it something you wanted to do? Or did you do it out of obligation? In which case, I encourage you to knock that off, because that's not a clean gift. So in most cases, you didn't mind at all. And in fact, you kind of were probably flattered to be asked, or you might have felt really good in the giving. When we withhold requests for support, what we're withholding is love. Okay, I'm going to say that again. When we withhold requests for support, we are withholding love. We're withholding the flow of it. We're withholding the opportunity for other people to give and feel good about themselves. We're withholding the flow of love for us to be able to receive and have our cup filled up again so that we're not coming from empty. We're withholding the flow of love when we're not willing to both give and receive. One is not inherently better than the other. They're both valuable and necessary. You cannot have a world of givers without receivers, and vice versa. So please be willing to give people the gift of being able to support you, because it is a gift. And be willing to, yes, be supportive. But I want you to ask a question. I had a client ask me this the other day. She's doing some surveys, asking people to help her out with that. So it's asking for a favor, and was feeling like she needed to compensate them. And so I simply asked her, when someone asks you for a favor, do you expect them to pay you? If the answer to that is no, then why would you feel obligated to compensate someone for doing a favor for you? That's hypocritical. If the answer is yes, then that's your value set. That's not wrong. It's just your take on things. So then, sure, yes, you may want to compensate people, not because they need it or want it, but because you feel it's necessary. And so you could offer them a Starbucks card, or you could offer them to take them for lunch, or you could do whatever seems appropriate to you. But if you would not expect people to pay you for doing them a favor, then please don't put them in the position of feeling kind of icky about being paid for doing a favor. Be who you would be if the shoe was on the other foot. All right. My bet is you're a generous person. You love to support people. You love to give. So give others the opportunity to do that. All right. Oh, I didn't realize I was still sharing that. Give other people the opportunity to support you. So be bold in your asks, in your requests. Be creating opportunities for others to be bold. The other thing that it does for us, by the way, especially if you're working with people who are in business, is it models behavior that they probably want to be the source of and do in their own life and their own business. So be the example of what you teach and what you stand for. I'm an example, or I'm a stand for people being bold. So I want to support you in that. So if I didn't boldly ask for things, then I would be out of alignment with the principles of what I want for you. So the bonus action step that I gave in this challenge was always kind of a notch up from the regular day challenge. This one is for you to do this via phone instead of email, to actually phone and follow up with your clients, and to say something like this. It's me, and I'm calling because I have a super easy favor to ask of you that would really help me out. Do you have 2 minutes for me to ask you now? If yes, then proceed and ask them. If no, then ask when you can call, and then call them at that time. I'm revamping some of my marketing materials, and I'm collecting a few testimonials from some of my favorite clients. And yes, I'm sucking up to you, but it's also true. Okay, so have some fun in your conversation with them. If I emailed you a template, would you be willing to write a few lines talking about the results you received from our work together? See what they say and then respond accordingly. If no, okay, no problem. I totally appreciate that. Thanks for your time today, and I hope you have a great day. Authentically, genuinely, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being clear. If yes, great. I'll email you the template, and you can either write it up and send it back, or if it's easier, we can set up a time for a 5-minute call and you can answer the questions. I'll write up the testimonial based on your replies and send it to you for editing and approval. Which method would you prefer? Give it to them in the simplest way. Many of them will say, okay, let's just do it now. So have your questions ready, and then ask them those questions that were on the template. Thanks so much. I really appreciate your help. Okay. So if you're leaving a message, here's the message for the answering machine. I've made it as simple as possible for you to call people and ask them. if you send the email and when you send the email and you send the follow-up email, I recommend that you then pick up the phone and say, hey, I know you may not have seen those 2 emails, but if you did and you were meaning to get back to me, I thought I would just give you a call, make it quick and easy. And if you saw them, but you were avoiding me, then no problem. Just let me know and I will not bug you anymore. All right. So you can make it super simple and you can make it as direct as you would like. Now, here's the advantage of doing the calling. 9 times out of 10, when you're talking to them about the work that you did and the successes they had, what do you think they're thinking about? You and the successes that they had when working with you. So might they have some additional work that they need support with? Might they be thinking, hey, well, yeah, we did that and I want this. So in other words, it's a really good reason to reconnect with your clients and prospects in a positive framed way that is likely to get you repeat business. So I really want you to take a look at that and be willing to be brave and bold and step outside your comfort zone and phone them. All right. Now I'm going to show you very quickly how I've used some of my testimonials. I have testimonial sheets for coaching. So with some quotes from people about the coaching work I do, a few pictures to make it real, tangible, etc. I also have, let me stop the share on that one. I attach those sheets when I'm doing, hold on, I'm losing myself here. There we go. I attach those sheets when I am talking to someone about possibly being a prospect. Is that the right one? I think so. For coaching work with me. I'm not sure if I'm looking at the right one. Hold on just a moment. This one is for my speaking. Okay, so, and it's a little bit of a variation on the theme. So it's people who have seen me speak, either event organizers or audience member feedback, etc. What I also have included on this one is a few of the places that I presented their logos so that it shows the kind of organizations that I have spoken on in terms of including media, etc., etc. So this is a great way for you to add this to your speaker package, for example. If you are looking for speaking gigs, then when you send out your information on your speaking, you can include that testimonial sheet. Then if you are, I have another one for workshops and training. So I have my 6-month Wings Academy program. If someone's considering signing up, then I send this to them. So these first quotes on the first page are my old flagship program called What the Hell Do I Sell? How to Package, Price, and Position Your Expertise. So this was specific feedback from people about that program. This is general feedback on my training work or programs that I've done. This program became the Wings Academy. So anytime someone is interested in that program, I send them, when I do the follow-up email, I send them this sheet so that they can see what other people thought of the content that was part of this current program. I also use those on my website for the training site or for the event page. If it's coaching, I put that on my coaching page. I also use it in examples. So if I'm doing a training, then I might do something where I have a testimonial from a client and about a specific result related to the training we're doing. And I would put up the testimonial and talk about the kind of a mini case study of when I was working with Margaret or when I was working with Marilyn. She did this, this, and this. Again, related to what I'm teaching, so that it's not just here's a brag, but it's relevant to them. She did this, this, and this, and accomplished this result that's on this testimonial. That's why I highly recommend you do this, this, and this, so you too get this result. You can incorporate testimonials in many, many ways to have other people brag on you, to have them talk about how awesome you are. But you really do want to get very specific testimonials. The more specific, the better, about the benefits and the outcomes and why they were meaningful. So I'm going to post those 2 additional templates in the Facebook group. I want you to download them, but more importantly, I want you to use them. I want you to reach out and send emails, make phone calls, connect with people so you can get a bunch of great testimonials, not only to use in your marketing, but frankly, there are days where all of us forget who we are, what our value is, and what our value is that we provide to others, and what a difference we make. So I have a folder called my Wow Letters and Testimonials. Wow letters are letters of recommendation and so forth. And every once in a while, if I'm having a day, I go and just read through some of my testimonials. It reminds me of the difference that I'm making. And I want you to get that you make a difference, that who you are matters. And I want you to live like you do, like it does. So part of that is reminding yourself who you are, how you got to where you got, and the difference that you've been making along the way. So please, please go get lots of testimonials, use them in a variety of ways, like I suggested. By the way, those sheets that I had laid out there, I got them on Fiverr or Upworks, one of the two, for probably $10 each. So it's not too expensive to do that. They're handy to use in your arsenal of follow-up and credibility building. Always put testimonials in any of your lead magnets. Wherever your bios are, make sure you've got testimonials relevant to the specific bio positioning. You can use testimonials in so many ways. So I really encourage you to go and get them. Make them a valuable part. Oh, and one last thing, have a process for gathering them. So I have a form, an automatic form that we give people the URL to at the end of each event, where they can go and fill in the testimonial at their leisure about the event or any of the work we've done. And at the end of coaching, I have a SurveyMonkey survey that gives me feedback on the coaching, but is predominantly those case study questions that I told you. What was the problem? What's the solution you were looking for? What was some of the specific outcomes and benefits? Why was that meaningful to you? And then I have a question around what would make the coaching or the workshop better or more beneficial for you. What would you tell others about the course, and what would you tell others about Jeanette, or what would you tell others about the coaching, and what would you tell others about Jeanette? And then the last question is always, may I use this in my marketing? So if you're speaking, you need a feedback form. If it's paper, it's paper. If it's electronic, it's electronic. Make it as simple as possible for people to give you feedback. Always, when you speak, ask for feedback from the audience. It's a great way to get them on your list. It's a great way to get the testimonials, and it's a great way for you to feedback the responses to the event organizer. I always, when I had feedback forms, took all of the comments and put them into a document, cut and paste them into a document that I sent to the event organizer. And I would just say, here's some feedback from your audience. Thank you again for letting me appear on your podcast or on your stage or whatever the situation was. I hope you found it as beneficial as your audience did. Something like that, okay? It reinforces for them that you were a good hire or you were a good person to have in front of their audience. They appreciate it because they can also use those testimonials in their marketing. So last thing I want to leave you with is be the source of that which you want more of. So give people testimonials frequently, freely, be the source of, use that template for yourself to provide testimonials for others. It takes 2 or 3 minutes to fill in. It's something you can send them, and it's so beneficial because so many people have problems asking for them. So when you just give them freely, it's a tremendous gift. So being the source of that which you want more of makes it easier for you to receive them as well. And it puts some good juju out in the world. All right, I hope you found this practical, beneficial, and that you will, more importantly, apply it so that you can gain some benefits for you, for your business, so that you, my friends, can be the difference that only you can be. I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a bodacious week. Bye for now, everybody.